for me, no sleep last night. 6 to 7, I was
6 to 7
morning. I didn't sleep. That's unfortunate. Why? This is a better time. On Saturday, there's a lot of time they can talk. Let's switch.
Velocity and change.
I don't know this.
Area between curves.
I know this.
Volume of solid of revolution.
That's easy. That's easy. What's that?
Velocity and net change.
Yeah. That's better.
They'll say they'll give you a formula for what
I see.
Speed is.
Oh yeah, I see.
And ask you how far they travel.
I don't think so. Probably some parts like that'll be like 2%. Asking what's the area. There's a man process in that. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's the only thing about it. We didn't have a problem set that was about that.
Yeah, we should ask the kids for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Horrible. That's not good.
I think that's what we need.
Yeah, should have been. Are you about to add a message? I know what's happened, that happened.
Good evening, everyone. How are y'all doing today?
Good.
Excited?
No,
So, thank you for coming out to the B.Tech Info Night, also known as personal branding and learning to be a professional. My name is Aras Siddiqui. I am the B.Tech rep, and I'm B.Tech rep, and I represent all undergrad and graduate faculties and departments within W Hood School. And as all of you know, the W Hood School, or the Department of STEP, encompasses all B.Tech streams. That is the direct entry programs such as automation, automotive, and bio, and also the degree completion program. And what the goal of STEP is to give students a hands-on environment to learn and develop their skills. And one of the things that we should all develop as students is professional skills, how to brand ourselves and learning to become a professional engineer in the end. And I think, and I hope that you guys take something from this event and apply it to your own professional career. Now we'll hear from Julia, who is the BTA president of this year.
So hi everyone, my name is Julia Minetti and I'm the president of the Bachelor of Technology Association. So the Bachelor of Technology Association is a group of students that work together to provide beneficial events and also provide a sense of community among B.Tech students. So the Bachelor of Technology Association is Caruna and also our keynote speaker for the night, Umar. We're very excited to be hearing from both of you. And on behalf of the Bachelor of Technology students, thank you to both of you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us tonight. And to the students here, we're very thankful for your support, and we hope to continue to hear each.
Very special for me. Umar is my good friend from a long time ago, and I hope you're not here just to learn about the PEO. Not to take anything away from that, because that is also very important. But if you take some stuff away tonight that you didn't really expect that you were going to learn, I think that's really my secret goal. About that now. You get lots from him. He's the expert. I'm going to talk for just about 10 minutes and hopefully introduce some terms and some of the jargon that surrounds the Iron Ring and the PN to Umar, and he's going to talk about your personal brand. We'd like to hold the questions until the end. So if you have specific questions about the PEO or about your situation, things like that, just hang on to them, and we'll entertain all the questions at the end. But I'd like everyone to listen to the speakers first, and then we'll open it up to the floor at the end. And you're also welcome to stick around. There's a few slices of pizza left, although by 9 o'clock they'll be a little bit cold, but it's probably still edible. So stick around, and maybe you get a chance to talk to Bobby or Tracey or myself if you have other questions. So just quickly, I want to review what happens in a regular Bachelor of Engineering program at a university. And we'll throw around this word tonight called accreditation. And accreditation is really given to universities that have engineering programs by something called the CEAB, that's the Canadian Engineering Accreditation Board. And about every 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, they come to universities that have Bachelor of Engineering programs and they review the curriculum and they give the thumbs up or the thumbs down as to whether or not those students in those programs qualify or satisfy something we call the academic requirements to become a professional engineer. So that's in regular engineering programs. If you are accredited, right, so if you're at McMaster and you're in mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, you're in what's called an accredited program, and that opens the door sort of automatically for you to apply to the PEO. You still have to do your experience requirements, you have to do the law and ethics exam, and Tracey will get into some of the details of this that also applies to you. But people in a B.Eng program automatically satisfy something we call the academic requirements. And the PEO has a committee called the ARC, or Academic Requirements Committee, and those are the committees that we've been interacting with over the last couple of years. The other thing that happens in an accredited program is that you're allowed to participate in this ceremony where you're given the Iron Ring. And a lot of students have questions about that. And there's something called the Corporation of the Seven Wardens, and they're separated into different camps, not affiliated with universities, not affiliated with the PEO or other provincial organizations that do licensing. There's something separate. So it can be very confusing for students. You've got the accreditation board, you've got the university, you've got the PEO, and then you've got this something called the Corporation of the Seven Wardens. And they're all somehow connected, but yet separate. And when it comes to the fate of a Bachelor of Technology student with respect to the Iron Ring or the PEng, there's a lot of confusion. And so what I'm going to try and do is just simplify and clarify as much as I can. These things, even for someone who has a Bachelor of Engineering, these two things are separate. So someone can graduate from mechanical engineering, they can participate in the Iron Ring ceremony, they can get the Iron Ring, they can wear the Iron Ring, but then they can just say, forget it, I'm not going to get a PEng. You can also go through this route with your experience and do the law and ethics exam and eventually get your PEng and not participate in the Iron Ring ceremony. So they are completely separate. And that neither of them are fully automatic either. Right? So someone who graduates from mechanical engineering in an accredited program has to then themselves go and apply to the PEO. They make it a little bit easier for students at McMaster because the Iron Ring ceremony is actually kind of run with the help of the faculty alumni office in the engineering building. So that faculty alumni office acts as a liaison between something called the Wardens of Camp 13, that's our camp that's in Hamilton, and the students. And it's through those communications that you can sign up to participate in the Iron Ring ceremony. But enough about that. Let's have a look quickly then at the Bachelor of Technology programs. If you finish your Bachelor of Technology degree, like anyone who graduates from engineering, you are free to apply to the PEO to get your license. The trouble is, or the challenge is, that you don't automatically satisfy the academic requirements because it is not an accredited program. And we don't have any intent of becoming accredited very much. Okay, so you're kind of locked in. Whereas in the Bachelor of Technology, we can do new, innovative things. We can have disciplines like automotive and biotechnology and power and energy, whatever we want. We don't have to conform to traditional engineering curriculum. But the challenge for you is that you don't have this automatic pathway to satisfying academic requirements of professional licensing. So what we do is you still apply to the PEO, and the PEO will assign you a set of exams. Once you've completed those exams, then you are said to satisfy the academic requirements of becoming a professional engineer. After you do this, after you've satisfied the academic requirements, you can also then apply to participate in the Iron Ring ceremony. Again, it's not automatic. You have to do it yourself. There's a place on the website where you go and you fill out an application form. It's not difficult, but you have to do it yourself. The other thing that happens once you've satisfied the academic requirements is that you can then continue on the same type of a path as someone who's done their Bachelor of Engineering, in that you can go on to satisfy the work experience requirements, write the law and ethics exam, and then eventually become two. Just as an update for people in the different programs, if you're in manufacturing, you are part of the first B.Tech degree, which was started in 1997. Again, some jargon in here. A supplementary exam means something different than what I've called a confirmatory exam, but Tracey, I think, is going to explain a little bit about that. So basically, these are exams that you have to write because the PEO says you need to show that you know this stuff. Just the end of last year, the PEO finished the review of 3 additional programs. The result was 5, something called confirmatory exams, and it looks like 5 exams is worse than 4, but maybe not. It actually depends on how you do. Okay, so Tracey will go into that. Very shortly, maybe not this year, but maybe next year, we'll be looking at the automation engineering technology program and having the PEO review that program. But the good news is, for this program, we just had a recent graduate apply to the PEO just individually, and they were assigned 5 exams. Okay, so the pathway is still there if you're about to graduate. Don't worry. Probably in a couple of years, students that are graduating will have a more sort of defined pathway. The PEO will tell us that students from this program, and of course students from bio and software, can also apply to the PEO, and the PEO will say that they're evaluated on a case-by-case basis. So I wanted to only talk for about 10 minutes, so that's about the end for me. Now I think that before our next speaker, we're going to have a little bit of an introduction. I didn't need an introduction because I'm in all those engineering economics videos, so people should already know me. Like this. But for our actual guests, Julie, you're gonna do an introduction. Okay, so thanks. Maybe I'll see you again at the end.
Thank you very much.
That's good.
So Tracey has had quite an interesting career path, so you're going to have to read directly from the paper. There's a lot on here. So Tracey is a professional engineer with a degree in mechanical engineering from McMaster University. She joined the PEO in January 2014 in the role of EIT coordinator and has since moved into the the position of Manager of Engineering Intern Programs. Prior to joining the PEO, Tracey worked for Hatch for 9 years, gaining exposure to numerous projects within the mining industry. She worked as a piping engineer for 7 years, gaining exposure to large-scale mining projects and management consulting for the remainder, where she overlooked multidisciplinary teams and provided financial analysis to mining investors. In the role of Manager of Engineering Intern Programs, Tracey is responsible for providing guidance and support for the EIT program, the Student Mentorship Program, and the License Assistance Program. In addition, she is the staff supervisor for the PEO's Education Committee, which focuses on curriculum matters for pre-university students. Please help me in welcoming Tracey.
Okay, so thanks everyone for attending. If you have trouble hearing me, just let me know. And thanks for the introduction, so I don't have to introduce myself. So I'll try to be as brief as I can, just so that we keep in time for tonight. So these are the contacts here that you might want to write down because, well, mine's the top one there. So Moody is actually the person who, if you really have questions that I can't answer, you're going to want to contact Moody. So you probably want to write down his email address there. So Moody is the manager for admissions, so he actually deals directly with the ARC. Unfortunately, he couldn't make the presentation. I'm part of the outreach group, so we do a lot of presentations, so I'm kind of doing this in his place. So I know mostly about the licensing background, but some of the exams I'm still learning a little bit about, but I do have some slides for you. And then if you do have questions on the exams, like when to write, fees, all those things just about them, you want to contact exams directly. So that's the contact there. Right. Okay, so you're probably all familiar now with what PEO is. We are the regulating body for engineers. We're self-regulated. We're just like doctors, lawyers, every other profession, CPAs, but accountants. So there are over 80,000 members currently in Ontario, and we pretty much all fall under a council, or PEO falls under a council, so there's about 100 staff, 36 chapters across Ontario. We have about 1,000 volunteers that make up those chapters, and then about 10 counselors who make all these decisions. And then, like Mike was saying, there's committees and task forces, and the committees, just as the ARC, are the ones that pretty much get all this information and actually make decisions. Okay, so that's pretty much how PEO works. We are all under Engineers Canada. So Engineers Canada is pretty much our national voice. So they're the umbrella organization over Canada. So just like us, PEO, there's associations like us across Canada. So it's pretty much a similar process across Canada, a little bit different, but once you do get licensed in one province, you can easily transfer to another province if that's your plan for the future. Okay, so reasons that you might want to become an engineer. Again, not everybody becomes an engineer, it just depends what you're going to be doing in the future, but it is required by law in Ontario to have that license in order to actually practice engineering. Until then, you can still do some engineering, but you'd be doing it under a licensed professional, and then they would be taking responsibility for your work and signing off on everything. So once you get the license, you can use the title P.Eng or engineer. Unfortunately, until that point, you cannot call yourself an engineer. We do have an enforcement group, and it is illegal to use that term. They actually do search people's LinkedIn, check people's business cards, and if people are using it illegally, then they're warned, and after multiple warnings, it could be charged. Okay, so then it pretty much opens up doors for the future and gives you a lot of opportunities. So it just depends what your discipline is and what you're looking to do in the future. There's some professions that don't pursue a PN. So, for example, in software engineering, a lot of people don't end up getting a PN, but there are lots who have been licensed. Okay, and these are the requirements that we look for. So again, once you graduate in just a normal engineering program, you're not actually yet an engineer. So These are what we look for over the few years that somebody is trying to get licensed. So the engineering education, so you had a brief introduction about how that kind of works here with the accredited programs. The professional practice exam, I'll talk a little bit about. Good characters, that's just pretty much on our application form. We have a checklist at the back, and it's just asking a few questions about your character, such as criminal record, etc. And then 48 months of acceptable engineering experience. So for you guys, I'll go through the education side quickly with the exam program, and then once you pass all that, you would just follow the normal process here. So then we would still be looking for 48 months of acceptable experience from you. Okay, and out of those 48 months, 12 have to be in Canada with a professional engineer in Canada. So anywhere in Canada, it doesn't have to be specifically Ontario. And we do look for references and supervisors from all your work experience. Okay, so I hope, are you guys okay seeing if I'm not blocking you? Okay. So I'm going to get into what happens with your education. So what happens with PEO when somebody applies? There are two different types of exam programs if they don't have an accredited program. So accredited programs are really just engineering programs in Canada. Pretty much all, maybe except for a few, are accredited. So when they're not accredited, it could be that they have a degree from another country, but they're still in engineering, or they've graduated in something other than engineering. So if they have a degree in engineering already from another country, we usually sign a confirmatory program. If they have something other than engineering, such as physics or science, then you get a specific program. The difference between those two, specific could be up to 18 exams, and confirmatory could be about 4 exams, up to 4 exams. Okay, but for Bachelor of Technology, you kind of fall in the middle there. So they've created their own specific exam program. So why is there one? Because again, it's not an accredited program. So after we assess your education, because usually what the exams do is it's bridging the gap between your education and what's accepted by the Canadian standards. Okay, so for your exams, they're offered twice a year, so May and December, and you have to write one exam within 2 academic years following the receipt of the program. And then you must write one exam write at least one after each year commencing your program. Otherwise, your file will close, and I'll talk about what happens if your file closes. Okay, and then you have to complete all these within 8 years. All right, so, and I think you guys can probably get a copy of these slides after from Mike, just so, because again, this is kind of not really my area, so I might be reading off these a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to split it up into 2 sections. So the first one is going to be these 3 new programs, and then there's going to be the manufacturing one. So just to get an idea, who here is in the manufacturing part? Okay, so there are a few. And then I assume everybody else falls somewhere in these ones, I think. Maybe not?
No.
Okay, maybe not. But so for the first few slides, I'm going to be covering what happens with these 3 programs: automotive, civil, and power and energy. Okay, so you'd be given an exam program, and you're going to get 3 exams from section A and 2 from section B, and then engineering report. So what happened is the academics committee kind of came in and realized that everything was looking good here, so you're kind of more above a specific program, which means that it's not as intense, so you don't have to do the basic studies exams. Okay, so like I said, you're pretty much a specific program, but it's treated like a confirmatory. You have to get 50% on your exams to pass, and what happens is you get something called good performance. And that happens if you score an average of at least 65% on 2 exams, but one has to be from section A at the first sitting, and with no mark below 60%. So that has to be completed in 1 sitting. Okay, so that's what's called good performance. And then, so I believe if that happens, they may waive the rest of the exams for you. For poor performance, if you fail 2 technical exams, or you have to write the same exam twice, you might be assign more exams. So that's where it could get more complicated, where they could go up in numbers up to the, again, total of 18. So that would fall under exams in basic studies, discipline-specific, or complementary studies categories. Okay, so that's what happens if you fail. You could possibly be referred to the ERC to waive or reduce your exams if you have 5 years or more of experience. Okay, so what the ERC is, it's a couple of panelists who are pretty familiar with your industry. They're not from PEO staff, they're volunteers, they're industry professionals, and they're going to give you an interview on what experience you're doing, and if you pass that interview, then they could waive the whole program, and then you just go on through the normal process. Okay, so that's if you have more than 5 years of experience after completing your Bachelor of Technology. If you choose to be assessed in a different discipline, then you get a different program. So you would get more exams for that. Okay, and unfortunately you can't do courses in lieu of these exams. Whereas a normal confirmatory program, you would be able to do courses in lieu of the exams. Okay, so sometimes at PEO, they will close down people's files for certain reasons. It doesn't mean you can't get licensed. What would happen is you'd have to reopen your file and pay the fee again. So we would close the file if the applicant doesn't complete the exam requirements within the specific limit, which I believe was the 8-year time limit. If you don't write at least one exam each year after the start of your program, if you fail the exam on 3 attempts, if you failed a total of 5 exams, or if you failed 2 basic studies exams, or failed to write a failed exam within 1 academic year. Okay, so if you fail 1 exam, then you have to write it again within the same year. All right, so I'm just briefly going to go through each of these if this is your discipline. So automotive, this would pretty much be what you'd have to do. Section A, you'd have 3 of these exams. So it would be, where I say or, it's either you would do that exam or this exam, then you have to do that exam or this exam, and same for the third option. Section B, there's a whole list of exams. So this is the thing you're going to be given when you actually apply to PEO. You'll be given a program, and they'll give you all these options. Okay, and again, if you have any questions before you graduate and are given this, you can, again, email us or email Moody, and you can describe it for you. So Section B is a whole list of exams. You would pick any 2. Complementary studies, you would have to just write an engineering report, and again, they'll give you the details of what they look for in that report. Okay, civil, it's a similar thing with the civil technology. You're going to pick 3 of these exams here, any 2 from Section B, and then your complementary engineering report. And the power and energy systems, similar thing here. You pick any 3 of all these options here, any 2. Some restrictions do apply. It just means if you pick 1 in Section A, there's certain ones in Section B you can't choose. And then your engineering report. Okay, so the B.Tech for manufacturing, this is a whole separate thing. So everything I talked about just before this was specific for those 3 programs. So Bachelor of Technology, again, is the older program. So for graduates, this unfortunately is the most recent information that we do have on it. But for graduates enrolled, the admissions condition is to have a technology diploma or higher. So between 2008 and later, and have graduated from the program by 2017, but it still applies to all of you who haven't graduated yet. So a similar thing, you're going to be given exams, so you have your Section A exams, and you have to write all those. Your Section B, you would pick 2 of the choices there. And then for complementary, you would have to do engineering economics and an engineering report. Now if you've done engineering economics already in school, they may be able to waive that for you. All right, so unfortunately for this manufacturing option, there's no good performance for this. Okay, so you have to just complete the program as is. I hope that if you guys do have questions, again, you can ask me at the end, and again, or if I can't answer them, you can email Moody. So right after this slide, I'm going to quickly just talk about experience. So you're probably wondering at what point can your experience actually start counting. So once you do all those exams, you're going to go on to the normal process that everybody else would go through. So for those first three areas, automotive, civil, and energy, your experience can start counting from graduation if you pass all those exams. So if you already have experience and you're going through the program over the next few years, then you can start counting from the day that you graduated. Okay, if you record 2 failures, then it can only start after passing all the exams, including any additional exams that you were assigned. Okay, so you want to try to study for those and not fail. So manufacturing, engineering, technology program, unfortunately, it can only count once you've passed all your exams. Okay, so you have to pass the whole exam program before counting your experience. Okay, and the experience that I'm talking about is those 48 months that we're looking for. All right, so say you complete that whole program, now we're going to get into the process of actually getting licensed. You do have to write, unfortunately, one more exam that everybody has to write, which is the law and ethics. It's one sitting, it's 3 hours, and it's 2 parts. And there's many courses that you can take for this, a lot of providers who offer this. So if you want to do a weekend crash course, that's the best idea to do for this. And for engineering experience, so I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm going to just briefly tell you what each of these means. So once you finish getting 48 months of experience, what we're going to ask for is a report. So that'll be different from your engineering report that you have to submit for the actual program. So the engineering, this report is an experience report, which means we want to see what you've been doing over 48 months. Not a resume. We need you to tell us a couple projects that you've been working on at your job, and we want it broken down into these areas. The first 2 on that list there are mandatory, so if for some reason the licensing department thinks you're not meeting that, then they might call you in for an interview. So that would be, again, a couple panelists who are familiar with your industry who may interview just to find out if you're doing actual engineering work. Okay, so application of theory is just, we want to see if you're applying all your knowledge from your undergrad degree. Are you actually using what you've learned in school? We want to see how you're using engineering principles. Practical experience is getting real world experience. So if you're on a site or you're doing a project, you're going to run into lots of problems, limitations. How are you overcoming those problems? So it's actually getting out there in the real world and doing projects. Management is just managing your own time, your own projects, maybe managing a team. Any way you can show how you're able to budget your costs or manage your time. And communication is just about how are you communicating your work through presentations, or are you doing technical reports? Maybe you're just dealing with a team or your supervisor and meeting with them every day. And social implications is just, we just want to see how are you able to mitigate any risks to the public. So how are you protecting the public in the work that you do? Okay, and then along with that experience, that's going to be the last thing that you do. So when you do apply to PEO, you don't need to submit this experience record right away. Once you get your 48 months, you submit it to what's called your admissions representative. And along with that, you're going to give them a list of your references. So that includes a supervisor from every job that you've had, whether they're a PN or not. But the minimum requirement is that you must have experience working under or closely with a PN over a 12-month period. So out of those 48 months, 12 months you would have had to be working with a professional engineer who is sufficiently familiar with your work. Okay, so what would happen is those references will be given a questionnaire on your work, and they're going to answer it and then submit it back to PEO. All right, and just quickly a little bit about our EIT program. So once you apply to PEO, and even going through your exam program, you would be be eligible, once you're given a program, eligible to join our EIT program. It is optional. It's $75 a year. And what it does is it just gives some extra benefits. So one is we can actually review your work experience to make sure you're on the right track. So we can do that once a year. You get to use EIT, the title, on your business card. And then you're included in our members directory, so you're actually searchable publicly on our website. You'll get our Engineering Dimensions magazine. You'll get invited to local chapter events. And we also have seminars just for EITs, so just to teach you about the PPE exam or how to write the experience record. We also have a mentorship program that is offered. Links an EIT with a PN to kind of help them through the process. All right, so that's it for mine. Hopefully I kept on time. And hopefully you guys caught all that. So I'll pass it back to you. Thanks.
Okay, don't leave. I would encourage you strongly to stay. I know people are here to listen about the PEO, but the greater benefit is, I think, yet to come. Okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right, cool. So for the rest of the night, for the rest of the night, what we will be doing is we'll be hearing from Bobby Umar, who is a prominent leader and a dynamic speaker on public branding. Bobby is a PN. He completed his PN from McGill University, and he did his MBA here at McMaster University. Bobby presents keynote speeches and runs team building activities. And he has spoken on TEDx 5 times. He is named to be the top 75 LinkedIn influencers globally, so if you don't have him on LinkedIn, search him right now and just follow him. You've got a lot of requests from after tonight. And he is top 15 tutors from Toronto. And he motivates from senior advisors, business professionals, and students alike. And he is dedicated to the cause of supporting youth and entrepreneurship and diversity. So without further ado, can you please give a round of applause for Bobby Umar.
Thank you. Now, does anybody want to do a quick stand-up stretch break? Like, just stand up, and stand up.
I don't.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Feels good, right? Yeah.
I don't.
Good. All right. That's good. Now you have a seat. Don't leave, as Mike said. Yeah, because I mean, Mike, you were talking for 10 minutes and I was dying because it's going so long. No, I'm kidding actually. All right, so you can hear me, right? All right, so Mike and I know each other for a long time. We met in grade 8.
Oh.
And he was the cool, smart, athletic guy, and I was the chess nerd. But we both liked chess, we both hung out, and I ran his campaign for president for grade 9 senior class, and we lost. But that's okay. And then we found each other years later at McMaster. So it's good to be here. So Mike convinced me to come in and deliver some talks, particularly around personal branding, networking, and thought leadership. And the idea here is to help you understand how personal branding works, how it applies to your career, but also how you can stand up and basically be someone who stands out in the world, in the community. Because it doesn't matter how young you are, you actually have the ability to be a thought leader even now. Just those two people who started before, who are the president and your rep, they're already stepping up and being leaders, right? So that's an important thing to keep in mind. I'm going to go through this. We're actually going to have a little bit of interactive activities as well. So what I'm going to cover today, I'm going to define what thought leadership is. I'm going to talk about personal brand, how it works. Then we're going to get into some authentic networking mastery, and then I'll give you some activities to empower this, and then we'll have some final thoughts and Q&A. So I want to also allow myself to be here for any question you might have. I'm going to give you a lot of information, but I want you to also think about questions that you can ask me at the end. You can also ask me questions, and if you really have a pertinent thing to ask, that's totally fine. Okay? Anyone here heard of TEDx? Okay, so I've done TEDx 5 times. But the first time I went, they said, Bobby, what is the big thing about you? What are you known for? What do you want to talk about? And I was like, wow, I don't know. I had to figure that out. But I came up with the power of connection, because everything that I do has always been about connecting with people, networking and relationship building, going to coffee chats and work on LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. And so here's me back in my engineering days. I thought I'd share a little photo. So I started engineering at McGill, and my parents dropped me off that one day at McGill, and I didn't know what I was doing, and who am I, and okay, bye-bye, mommy, daddy, see you later. And you know how it is, right? That your mom's crying, like, my baby! Or some of you still live with your parents, I'm sure, but like, that's what it's like. Your mom's crying, your dad's like, okay, now be a good responsible son, boy, don't get in trouble. He's really saying don't get anyone pregnant. That's what he's doing. But that was me and McGill. And then, I had fun. I was very social in residence, I went to the bars, it was a lot of fun. I did plays. But then I also did leadership. I was the president of one of my student groups I was part of. And I also met the best friends of my life, who I'm still in touch with, all these 3 people. And then, of course, I finally graduated. And then, okay, now it's like, here we go, right? What's next? Anyone here scared of graduation? Just 2 of you? Yeah, please. I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do next? Oh, I was pretty nervous. And so, over the years, I've done, one of the TED Talks I talked about university. And I said that there's 5 things you can do to actually make the most of your university life. And if you get a chance, you can take a look at it. I want to dive into that right now, though. So my career has been very diverse. For the most part, I was an engineer at Bombardier, was designing airplanes and jets. While I was there, I was bored. So I started a musical theater company, started producing and directing musicals. Grew that organization from 4 people to 150 people in 4 years. Then after that, I decided, maybe I want to switch careers and go into entertainment. I wanted to become a film television producer. So I did my MBA in marketing at McMaster here at the group. Did well there. Things there went really well. I had straight A's, was valedictorian. It was a lot different than my engineering days where I failed a lot of courses. I will fully acknowledge that my engineering degree was a 6-year degree because it was a 4.5-year program, and I extended it and did like 80% course load all the way because I was nervous about not doing a good job. And after that, I decided to get into brand marketing, and pretty soon I started my own business. But ultimately, it's a diverse path of brand and thought leadership and connection networking at the core. So let's start off with a bit of a brief thing in terms of what is leadership. Does anybody want to define that for me? Like if you say, if someone says leadership, what does that mean to you? Because you see it all the time, leadership. What does it mean? Like, I want to make it interactive, so like, tell me, what does leadership mean to you? Yes?
I would define it as the ability to convince the others to contribute their ability toward a goal that is normally unachievable by some individuals.
Okay, that's good. It's very deep. Okay, what's that one? What do you think?
Somebody who leads people.
Okay, that's pretty textbook. Okay. Anything else? Yes. Being a role model, sure. Anyone else? Yes.
Someone who's able to inspire and motivate people.
Inspire and motivate people? Okay, good. Oh, one more, sure.
Someone who takes a team to achieve a common goal.
Okay, great. Lots of good ones here. One of the things I like about this quote is that it's about reinforcing core values, articulating vision, and setting people free. And what that's all about is visioning and empowering and inspiring. And that's what the best leaders do. The other thing, and for me, I'm a big believer in developing new leaders. That's why when Mike asked me to come here, I said, you know what, yeah, sure, I want to help my friend Mike, but I also want to help you guys. And if I help you guys, you will go out there and be great McMaster graduates, which will make my McMaster, degree worth even more, right? So I want to invest in you guys. And leaders connect with themselves. They know what their personal brand is. Leaders also know who they are, what they stand for, what their principles are. Leaders also ask the right questions. Are you asking the right questions? They ask questions like, what if we could land on the moon? They ask questions like, how can we eradicate malaria? They ask questions like, why not have the entire world in the palm of your hand? I mean, I love my iPhone. Like, this is beautiful. I love this thing. It's so amazing. They ask questions like, is there life after email? There is, but yeah, that's something to think about. Now, those are very, very big questions, but when it comes to leadership, you have to want to be a leader. You want to step up. And what I can tell you is that in this room, We now have 100 people in this room, but how many are really going to be the leaders that step up? That's important to know, because some people step up, like they become class rep or they become president of an organization. Other people do not. They party too much, they sleep in, they don't do any work, and they barely pass their classes, which is what I did back in my day. But I also did a bit of leadership too. So when it comes to you guys, here you are at McMaster, you're studying engineering. So what would you say are some of your key personal branding and leadership challenges? I'm asking you now. Anybody? What do you think are the challenges you're going to have when it comes to personal branding and leadership out there? Yeah. Making yourselves known. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Being unique. Okay. Compared to everybody else, because like all these people have the same degree and they're doing the same stuff. Great point. What else? Yes.
You actually want your brand to be?
What do you, sorry? You say what you want your brand to be? Sure. Like knowing what it is and how to bring it out there. Anyone else? Any other challenges? You're all like, you're fine, you're feeling very comfortable? Yes. What's that? Competing with other people. Yeah, there's a lot of competition out there, right? How do you set yourself apart? Yeah.
Trying to, get the people around you to kind of achieve their goals, like achieve what their potential is as well as your own.
Okay, very good. That's awesome. So, when it comes to statistics and what most people say, there are certain things that people have trouble with. One is selling myself. How do I persuade authentically who I am and why I'm so amazing? Knowing my value, do I give too much? And how do I, gain stuff? Asking for help. People are afraid to ask for help. They're like, oh, who am I? I don't want to feel like I'm vulnerable or I'm not good enough. Legacy and transition. Knowing what to let go and how to build it. Leverage your network because people matter, and then building leaders for yourself and everyone around you. These are the most common personal branding leadership challenges people have. But leadership best starts within. A better you is a better everything else. So if you actually build the leadership within yourself, the better you're going to be for everyone else. A better me is a better team, a better organization, a better world. That's what it starts within. So when I first started my business and my career, I thought about my why. My why is what I call there are lost, stuck, or unfulfilled leaders everywhere. What that means is everywhere I go, I meet students, I meet older professors and teachers, I meet senior corporate professionals, I meet women entrepreneurs, I meet people who feel lost in their jobs, stuck in their careers, unfulfilled in their relationships. And it's something that is troubling because here's some really interesting stats for you. 80% of first-year university students end up doing something completely different in their life. So you're all engineering, right? In first year, let's say, 80% of you will move on to something else. Surely you've been engineering for 5 years, 10 years, maybe 20 years, but eventually you'll do something else. And that's actually a very startling fact. Now why is that? Because most of us follow a path of success defined by other people. Why did I do engineering? Because my dad told me to. Right? He's like, Bobby, be a doctor or an engineer. That's what he said, right? Bobby, you're good at physics and math. You're good at engineering. Good job. That's what he told me. Right? So I did it. And, but then I started shifting. The other thing that's interesting is that, according to Deloitte, 76% of people are unhappy or dispassionate with their jobs. And it goes back again to following a path defined by other people. Parents, society, corporations, right? Not willing to ask for help or knowing your brand. Like if I knew my brand was going to be, for example, for my personal brand, right? I'm a very social, personable guy. You may have noticed. Okay? I'm very loud. I'm in your face, and that's fine. Imagine me working at Bombardier in front of a computer 10 hours a day talking to nobody. Do you think I was happy? No, I was miserable. I didn't know it because I was making money. I bought my first car. And, it was nice making money, but I was miserable doing that stuff day in, day out. I probably, if I'd done my personal brand, I knew that, yeah, Bobby's social, he loves people, maybe I could have gone to like engineering sales or something. That might have been more my cup of tea. But I didn't do that because I didn't think about it. So my why helps me focus on the things that I do for my work and for my business. What is the most important personal brand concept for leaders in today's digital age to master? This is where we get into thought leadership. Now, Michael asked me, what's thought leadership? Well, I'm going to tell you what thought leadership is. So that's exciting. So if you look at these people here, you look at, there's Seth Godin, Warren Buffett, Jay-Z, Oprah. Can you figure out what these people stand for in a couple of words? Like if you look at, like, anyone know who this guy is? Gary Vee is one of my favorite. I love this guy. In fact, actually, a really exciting news. I just spoke yesterday to the CHO, Chief Heart Officer of VaynerMedia. So that was kind of cool. And I was talking to her, and Gary Vee's like texting her while I'm talking. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Anyway, what is he known for? The things that these people are doing that are making them thought leaders. If you want to be a thought leader in your major, what do you major in? What's your main major? Okay, and are you on the same program exactly? So what are some other majors you might have? Automation. Okay, great. So if you want to be a thought leader in automation engineering, and you can do it at your age, you're thinking, well, I'm just a lowly punk-ass student. I can't do this. You actually can. You know, there's a guy right now who analyzes every new smartphone. He's on YouTube, and he has like 10,000 subscribers, and he's like 22 years old, and he analyzes every single he analyzes every single smartphone that comes out, and he gets thousands of views. And he's now seen as a thought leader in smartphone technology and analysis. He's only 22 years old. So what do people do as thought leaders? Well, they influence the conversation of a certain area of expertise, like we just talked about. They consistently innovate, disrupt, or evolve the conversation and thoughts around that area. They answer the biggest questions in the minds of your target audience. So going back to that smartphone guy, how good is the iPhone X? Is it any good? How good is it? What are the features? How does it compare to the other phones? That 22-year-old is driving the conversation about those smartphones. They build a following of people who seek them out for expertise. That's exactly what that YouTube guy did. And when an area of expertise is mentioned, their name comes to mind because of a strong personal brand. There's your name, like in this class, whose name comes to mind as the best in automotive engineering? Whose name comes to mind as the best in leadership among you engineering students? That's what personal branding is. So if you want to become a thought leader in your field, there's 3 main criteria. Number 1, you have to learn to network authentically and build deep relationships, have tons of connections. What that means is you have to build broad networks and connections, like Mike was saying earlier. But you also want to build deep relationships with people. So Oprah Winfrey, broad network, deep connections. Gary Vaynerchuk, broad relationships, deep connections. Number 2, you want to create and generate awesome ideas and content. You need to generate ideas. Jay-Z's writing songs. Oprah's writing books. Gary Vaynerchuk is doing videos. Warren Buffett is doing financial investment reports of some sort, I'm sure of it. That's what they're doing. And then finally, you have to master public speaking communication skills. You have to learn to speak better. You have to learn to write better, constantly. And this is actually something that a lot of engineers struggle with. You know, in my work as a speaker, I've gone to tons of engineers to help train them to write better and to speak better, because it's something you're going to have to master anyways. When I talk to the PEO and when I talk to OSPE, I'm doing tons of work with them because engineers are coming out and they don't have this. Or they have it, but not in the way that makes them excellent. And so if you want to become a thought leader in your field and set yourself apart, you have to develop all 3 of these things. Some of you are probably good at one of these things. You know, one of you is probably a natural networker. Another person's really good at maybe blogging. Another one's probably good at speaking or writing. That's fine. But if you want to become really awesome, you want to develop all 3 of these things. So why is this important to you as engineering students? Well, the truth is that if you are seen as the expert with a solid reputation, you have a huge network, and now you own the conversation around whatever your topic is or your major is, then opportunities will come to you because you are memorable. You will have the confidence to go after opportunities, and then connections, customers, clients, colleagues will start to follow you wherever you are, no matter what age you are. And I say this because, I mentioned age because I think most of you think your age is the biggest barrier. But I've known so many young people. Are you all 3rd, 4th year? What years are we in?
Nice.
1st, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, all the way, okay. So I've met a couple of 20-year-olds who are just amazing what they've done in terms of building a brand. So you can do that too. And for me, in terms of building my brand, when I was on social media in 2011, I saw an opportunity to grow my brand by doing not just networking, but doing networking online. And back then, I started a Twitter page and a Facebook fan page. I didn't have much, but now I've built it. I have almost across my entire field, I have 500,000 followers. 450,000 followers on Twitter. I have 30,000 followers on LinkedIn with over 5 million views of all my stuff. And I built that by creating content around leadership and career and entrepreneurship and things like that. And now it's giving a lot of influence, which is really awesome. And has it helped me? Absolutely. I'm now write for Having Post, and I've been named one of the top 100 leadership speakers alongside people like Richard Branson, and I have an agency now, and I have the 5 TEDx talks. So it's definitely helped me. So for me, it's about helping you stand out. And that's why I'm here, because I want to help you stand out. So if we look at the 3 criteria and steps for thought leadership, this is really what personal branding is. Personal branding is building a brand for yourself to become better in these 3 areas. And the question you have to ask yourself is, what is my personal brand and why personal branding? Right? Personal brand will make you a happy person. Who doesn't want to be happier? We all want to typically make more money and be happier. That's the general 2 things we want. So if that helps you, is that worth something? Yeah, I think so. Now, one of the things that, I'm here also on behalf of my startup. I have a startup called Discovery Personal Brand. And what we do is we run training sessions, we do coaching, we do consulting for individual organizations in personal branding. And why do we do this? Is because what we found through the data and the research, and as well as anecdotal studies, is that every single individual, as well as companies and organizations, want 3 things. Everybody wants 3 things. Number 1, every single person wants more focus. They want more clarity, purpose, and direction with their life and their expertise in their career. Number 2, every single person wants more alignment. I want to find more meaning in my work. I want to activate my values. I want to find my passion. I want to be more fulfilled and happy and joyful. And number 3, every single person wants more impact, achievement, success, story, build a legacy. That's what they all want. And that's what personal branding does. The moment you take the time to invest into discovering your personal brand, developing your personal brand, and deploying your personal brand, you will be able to achieve more focus, alignment, and impact in your career. That's why personal branding is so important. And ultimately, you want to get to this point, which is what's called it's called Ikigai. When you have your what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at, all merged in the middle, it's a very, very powerful, amazing place to be. And that's where you will want to be as well. So let's talk about branding and then define it. Anyone know, like, when you think of brand or personal brand, what does it mean to you? Like, how would you define that? Yes?
Unique and recognizable.
Unique and recognizable, sure. Okay. Anyone else?
Your values.
Your values, sure. What else? Yes, sir.
How people identify you.
How people identify you. Okay, sure. One of the things about this one I like is that it's a product of 1,000 small gestures. You've had a brand since you were born. Were you a bedwetter? Okay, that's your brand, right? Were you a spoiled child? That's your brand. Were you like a roughhouser, right? Didn't listen to your mom? That's your brand. I'm looking at you, I know, right? Maybe you were. She's the guy going, oh, he got me poked, totally pegged. Yeah. What's your brand in this class? Are you the person who's late for class? That's your brand. Are you the guy that sits in the back? That's your brand. Are you the guy that listens on his phone and listens to the professor? That's your brand. Are you the person that comes to group meetings without having your work done properly? Right? That's your brand. You know these people because they're in your groups. I've never been in a group in my life that didn't have a shitty performer in the group. Okay? We all know this. Sorry. Is that okay? We're all adults here. Okay? You all know these people. That's your brand. So I define a brand as a promise to deliver an unmet need. So it's a collection of your experience with a name, a symbol, or a logo. It's the things you remember. So when you think of Tim Hortons, you think of what? Caffeine. What else do you think of? Timbits. Coffee. Yeah, normally it's product-based, but a few years ago, Tim Hortons did a commercial with Sidney Crosby, right? And he basically went to the Tim's at 5 o'clock in the morning, grabbed like six coffees, took it to the hockey rink, doled it out to his friends, and basically Tim Hortons was saying that Tim Hortons is the Canadian experience. That's what they tried to explain, which is kind of interesting, right? But remember, a brand is a promise, okay? That's important to remember. And the benefit of a brand is that it creates recognition, trust, loyalty, market share, and relationship. It increases dollars, but it also increases happiness. So, speaking of Tim Hortons, anyone go to Tim Hortons? Okay, anyone like their bagels? No. Okay, what's the best bagel? 4 cheese? That's second best. Good. What's the best bagel? Everything bagel? Wrong. What's one? Jalapeno? No. Do you guys even eat all the bagels? No. Which one? No, not the cinnamon raisin. Okay. It's the maple cinnamon French toast bagel. Okay? It is the best bagel on this planet. And when I go to Tim Hortons, I always get that bagel. And when I'm about to put this in my mouth, literally I hear angels sing. Like, oh, like that's how I feel. It increases my happiness. That's an amazing brand. Do I go to Tim's Maple Syrup Festival? And if they don't have it, they're like, well, we only have the 4 Gs. Holders. A personal brand is a promise to deliver to everyone you come in contact with. Your group members, your teachers, potential employers that are out there. That's really important. And some of the best brands have personality. Like Richard Branson's known for being audacious, a risk taker, and that feeds down into Virgin. Obama did a really good job as a president being someone who was thoughtful and accessible. He would show up on all those talk shows when before him, presidents would never ever do that, but he would. And then Brene Brown is someone I love. She talks about authenticity and vulnerability. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about the hustle and entrepreneurship. I love that. They have brands, they have personality. And your personal brand is both personal and professional. My brand as, let's say, being a people guy, feeds into me as a dad, as a friend, as a colleague. If you have a brand of, say, being super analytical, maybe that'll feed into your personal life as well. Maybe you're into board games, or maybe into online video games, things like that. So the key takeaway is, what do you promise to bring? Right? Every single one of you. When you meet somebody, or you go to an interview, or you're online, what do you promise everybody? That's something to think about. I promise to be energetic. I promise to invest in your story. I promise to be warm and kind and accessible. That's what I said. Like after this talk, you're welcome to come talk to me, and I'll be pretty chill. I'm trying not to be intimidating. I'm a big guy, but I'm not very intimidating. I try not to be intimidating. Right? So I promise to bring that. What do you promise to bring? And here's the thing, this is the brand you want. This is what you want them to think of you. This is what they currently think of you, and this is what you don't want them to think of you. So let's say, for argument's sake, sorry, what's your name, sir? Sam. Sam. So let's say Sam is always late for class. Oh, there's always late Sam. Sam's always late. If I say that 5 or 6 times, they'll start to believe me, right? That's what Trump does, right? He says it over and over again. So let's say he is always late all the time. What would he have to do to get rid of that brand of always late Sam?
Show up early.
That's right, come early or come on time. That's brilliant. You guys, engineers, you are the future. Love you guys thinkers. That's right. But statistically, how many times does he have to do it in a row before his brand starts to shift?
At least twice as much as he's late.
He has to do it 7 to 13 times in a row before it starts to shift. In fact, he can do it 11 times in a row, be earlier on time, and then he screws up on the 12th day. Oh, there's always late Sam again. Start from scratch. That is compelling. 7 to 13 times in a row before they change your brand. That's something to think about, because if you have that brand of not doing good in groups, not being a good speaker, always being late, it takes a while to shift that brand. And you can either, accept the change, or you can react to change, or you can create change. So you have to create the change you want within yourself to be better. So again, going back to the thought leadership definition, and we look at the importance of branding and how your perception and how your promise to people is out there. One of the things I want to dive into today, because we have lots of time and I want to train you guys, is I want to get into, because we can't do them all. But again, I think you should certainly work on speaking communication skills. You should work on creating content. I encourage all of you to create a blog post, do video content, be like the smartphone video guy on YouTube. Does anyone here have a blog post?
Nope.
Oh my gosh, nobody? Does anybody here have posting video on YouTube?
No.
Okay,
We
one
all have
person.
two.
2 people. You're setting yourselves apart. That's good. If you're looking for a job, and let's say I have 4 automotive engineering students applying for a job with me. Every single employer, including myself, I also hire interns, so if anybody's looking for work, certainly reach out to me. What's the first thing I'm going to do when I get your resume or your email or whatever it is? I'm going to Google you. Okay? Absolutely, I'm going to Google you. And the first thing that comes up is completely private, no profile, nothing. I'll be like, what is she hiding? Then another one comes up. Okay, there's a profile on LinkedIn, profile on Facebook, Instagram. Not much there. Okay, I guess she has no life. Okay, forget about her. Then the third one comes up. Okay, this person they're on LinkedIn, solid profile. They have 500 plus connections. Okay, and they have some interesting things laid out. That's cool. That's not bad. Then I go to this person. He has a couple of connections, but he has 3 blog posts, 3 videos, and 4 different articles that he wrote about automotive engineering in terms of his thoughts on the matter, even though he's only 20, 21 years old. Who do you think is the best profile for people so far? This guy, right? Because he's talking about the stuff that I want to hire him in, right? That's what I want. I want people who care about automotive engineering. If I'm hiring for that, that's awesome. So, let's talk about networking. So networking, again, is a big part of what I do, and I love doing it. So why do we network? So Benjamin Franklin said the only two certainties in life are death and taxes. You've heard this one before? Okay. There are two more certainties in life. They are dealing with people and delivering presentations. Everywhere you go, you're dealing with people. People in school, people at work, people on the bus, people at the grocery store, with your family, your silly sister or brother who annoys you. People everywhere. The second thing you're dealing with is delivering presentations. You are always delivering presentations, right? So in your engineering class, the dy dx equals, okay? or in a corporate job, the 30% growth in our corporate finance. 30%. You're dealing with your friends. Oh my God, guys, have you guys seen Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse? It's so good. We have to go. That's a presentation. Has anyone seen it? It was awesome.
No.
Okay? I think that kids, but you know.
Yeah.
Or with your family. Mommy, daddy, can I marry this white girl? Right? You laugh, but that is the presentation I actually did do. Right? It was the toughest presentation of my life, but at work I now have beautiful beige babies. So that's a whole other course. Okay, and how to convince your parents that you marry the different ethnicity or religious person. Okay. So this is inherent upon you to become better networkers, because you're going to deal with the rest of your life. Rest of your life. You gotta want to network. You gotta want to make that hustle. And I'll give you an example of hustle. Okay, I was at an event. It was a networking event, and I was delivering my speech, delivering my keynote. By the end of it, I nailed it. I rocked it. It was great. And afterwards, people came up to me and started asking questions. And there was like a swarm of like 15, 20 people. And there was one girl there, just like, I'm like, come on. No, I'm just gonna wait. You're gonna wait. Okay, fine. So I'm talking with people. It went on for 45 minutes. They're starting to roll the tables and vacuuming the place, because they wanted it out of there. And finally, after I'm done, she's like, listen, can I walk in your car and pick your brain about stuff? I said, sure. So then I walked into the car, and basically, I talked to her for 20 minutes about her career and what she's looking for, and she got that one-on-one attention because she was willing to wait. She was willing to wait for 45 minutes and get that one-on-one time to help me coach her. That's amazing, but it definitely made an impression. So you got to want to be able to do that. Now, what is the number one barrier to networking success? What's the biggest barrier? What? Fear. What else? Confidence. They're kind of related, yeah.
Failure.
What's that?
Fail.
Fear. Again, you're on the same team. This is great. Let me give you number 3. Number 3 is no plan. You go to a networking event. You came here to this networking event. You have no plan. Did anyone here have plans to network with me and the PEO person? No. You should have. If you looked us up, you would see our profiles are kick-ass, and you want to know us. And she probably can get you PEO. Whatever with that. But, she can give you some really great advice, right? Or connect to the right people, right? That'll help you. I got connections, right? Number 2, poor tactics and strategy, right? How do I walk up to Bobby and say something? What do I say to her that will get her attention? What can I say to get Mike's attention? What can I do to make an impact? The tactics and strategy. The number 1 issue is your mindset, which fits on fear, confidence, all that stuff we just talked about, right? Because whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Oh, what do I have to say to that person? You're right. Oh, you know what? I wouldn't know what to say. You're right. Your mindset screws with you all the time. It tells you that you can or can't do something. But you can overcome that with knowing the tactics and having the right mindset. And building a better mindset helps you create better networking opportunities. And it's called having a growth mindset, which is being open to criticism, being able to evolve and grow as a person, and not being fixed or fearful about your shortcomings. Because we all have shortcomings, and that's totally fine. But there are always ways around it. Whether you're an introvert or whether you lack preparation or you get nerves, there are always ways around that kind of stuff. So here we are, networking event. We're about to network with a couple hundred people there. You're drinking for a reason, right? Because you're nervous, right? I get that. So you're trying to slow them all down. So you can network with with a little more confidence. What are you thinking at this point? You're about to get in there. What are you thinking? probably thinking, well, I don't have a plan, or where do I go first? Who do I start with? When you enter a room, who should you start with first, you know? What would you think? I'll give you a couple examples. So there's one person over there by themselves. There's two people over here having a conversation. There's a group of 4 over here, and there's a group of 10 in a circle talking. And there's, so the group of 1, 2, 3, and then 10. Let's just say that. Where do you go first? 4? 1? Yeah, what do you think? And what do you think?
The group where you know the most people.
Sure. Hey! That might help you. Actually, the best thing to do is go to the person that's by themselves. It's a networking event. They will thank you for like not making them lonely, and they have someone to talk to. They'll actually do that. Of those groups, the worst one to go to is actually the group of 2. Because 2 people are typically having more intimate conversation. They don't want to be interrupted as much. You still can. If you follow my master tactics, you can interrupt. But generally, that one's not as good. Okay? And yeah, if you see friends, that can be helpful in terms of finding ways. Now, there's different ways we network. We network, information meetings, random one-on-one meetings, mail order, that type of stuff, right? I've done that. We also do online social media. I'm going to focus on live networking events. So like this one, another one you're going to have. Okay, that's what I'm going to focus on. Because you can network anytime, anywhere with anyone. That's actually the title of my book. So the thing you have to understand about networking is that you meet people in different ways. So you'll either meet them at an event like this, right? You get their card and you add them on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever you want to do, right? And then someday later you'll say, oh, Bobby, let's meet for coffee and let's have a quick handshake and talk about life, right? Or you meet them on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and you're talking, chatting. You end up connecting on LinkedIn, and next thing you know, you meet in person. But ultimately, your goal is with the key connection in your life, and when it comes to your career, is you want to take them from in real life to social to in real life. You want to get to this point. You want to get to that one-on-one meeting. That's what you want. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where you start to develop opportunities for yourself. And so it's important to know that you're going to be able to meet people here, like at work, at school, wherever, at events, online, and then eventually transition over to this point. So you have to understand that spectrum. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we're actually going to practice networking. I know, it's kind of fun, eh? Yeah. You all know each other, right? Or you don't? No. No? You don't really? You guys don't talk? It's in the back, you're focused on your Instagram. I get it, okay. So I'm actually going to get you to practice because it's important for you to work on your skills and practice. So we're going to try some tactics, listen to my instructions, try your best to learn from this opportunity, and for every activity, make sure you introduce yourself and have fun. Okay? Because remember, you have to network the rest of your life. So practice now, practice often. All right. And don't worry, I'll guide you. And if anyone needs a group hug, we'll do a group hug. We'll hold hands, it'll be fine. All right. You guys ready for this? Okay. You ready? You ready, broskies? Yeah? Okay, I'm looking at you guys. Yeah. All right, so first we're going to practice our elevator pitch, right? I want you to walk up to someone you don't know, so no besties. Split up the broskies, split up the besties. Okay? Now I know what you're going to do. Oh, hey, I didn't even know you. I didn't know you, but let's pretend I know you. I don't know you. No, split up. Go talk to someone else. Okay? So introduce yourselves. Give them your 30-second elevator pitch. Okay? So who you are, what you do, what about you unique or beneficial, and then move on. So for example, hi, my name is Umar. I'm a professional speaker. I'm known for being a 5-time TED speaker, and I'm very good at making myself accessible and helping young people find fulfilling careers. That's what I do. Now, that was less than 30 seconds, but you get the idea. Okay? And then I want you to move on and repeat. Okay? And we're going to keep moving around. And you may have to get out of your rows and stuff, but that's what I want you to do. You guys ready for this? Yeah. Okay, everybody stand up.
This is a full block.
Okay, and go!
That way. That way.
What's your name, man? My name is Austin. I go by Austin. I know your name. Okay, great. Glad to meet you. Really? Sorry about that. I realize you are a lot, right? Hey man, glad to meet you. I know you. I know your face. Glad to meet you. You are the one who always make moves in my class. I like to see the club. First ever time I want to meet you in my private. I got that, man. It's kind of epic. No. I go to the office.
You're very interesting people. It's really fascinating. Like, wow, I didn't really know that they do that. Okay, cool. That's good. So stay where you are, but yes, you know, you gotta sell yourself and practice, practice, practice. That's so, so important. Okay? Anyone found that difficult?
Yeah, sure.
Why was it difficult?
Just because, like, just talking so much.
Right. It's difficult if you didn't practice. You know, you can take the time to prepare your pitch, right, and know exactly what you're going to say, and that's going to give you more confidence. Anyone else found it difficult? Why was it difficult?
It's because like you don't really know what is unique about you, like how to present yourself.
Yeah, so part of understanding your brand is knowing, you know, what you bring to the table. Now, I heard from a lot of people that I like to work hard and I like to learn. You know what? That's BS, because that's what everyone says that, right? Find something really interesting about your story, right? That really takes it to another. Like the thing that I usually say when I talk to people is a 5-time TEDx speaker, because that's something like, whoa, okay, 5-time TEDx, that's amazing. Now, if you're younger, what is it, right? I'm president of this organization. I once raised $500 for this charity. I can actually do a Rubik's Cube in 45 seconds. No, that stuff actually can set you apart from someone else who's saying they work hard. It makes you unique. So there's different parts of your brand. You have to figure that stuff out by understanding all the things you bring to the table. Now, next activity is called questions only. What I want you to do is I want you to walk up to a new person, and no besties, no broskies, okay? So you're gonna start out a conversation by doing question and answer. So what'll happen is, let's say it's me and Mike. I'll ask him a question, he answers it right away, then follows up with a question right away. I then answer that question and follow up with a question right away. He then answers the question, follows with a question right away. So, and the idea is we're trying to practice asking questions. Because if you want to be a good networker, the art is asking questions. So if you look at this example, right? How are you? Excited. Isn't it great to be here? Definitely. Where are you from? Halifax. You ever been there? Once for holiday. What do you like most about the East Coast? And again, you notice that they also kind of relate. You can't be like, Mike, where do you work? Like master. Can you swim? What? Yeah. Did you see, that chicken? Like, you can't, try to make it flow, make it relatable. Okay? All right. So you guys ready for this one? Questions only. What's that?
When do you stop?
You keep going until I stop you.
With the same person?
Yeah, with the same person. But a new person. No besties. You may have made a new bestie. It's possible. But a new bestie. Okay? Ready? Go!
Hey, how are you? Just let me walk downstairs. Buddy, do you speak Mandarin Chinese?
Yeah. Yes.
你是哪个 program？ 你是 B.Tech 是吧？你是 B.Tech 还是？就是我是你 B.Tech 你上台后我是上台，所以你是一开始所以你平常是在学校，你是。就是你交上高尔夫，那有高尔夫我们为什么会有人他过来不是比赛？你是直接读一个比赛，所以只要考 PEO 的考试啊，不是读一个我知道这个 Bachelor of Technology 是一个 engineering degree。你是考 PEO 的，他为什么B.Tech你都要问？因为我们只上3档，我觉得上的课是很，我觉得蛮浅，因为 college 它的上来，就我觉得上来，就是我们家一开始还有4个，他们是觉得上3个，就是上3档之后一个学期只对不上1个，因为就我们上一时间很早的正确的，就我们上一就有那个实事，就是这种方式在B.Tech上课的，上的那个是。
然后这个你是不是没给带？
我也不知道非常好。
这个学校里边
上一次我就给你上一次课，然后你就直接毕业了，好的。我一直以为，因为我自己课里面我说我操，为什么我会有那么多人见的？因为我们很多课程都是跟C一起，然后就是为什么那么多人那么可以看？因为你有听说过
非慢是正常上课，好奇如果上英文课还是考试。
All right, get your attention. Yes, hello, hi, hello, hi. Clap once you can hear me. Clap twice you can hear me. Clap 3 times you can hear me. Clap 4 times you can hear me. That actually works. All right, while you're slowly sitting down, anybody want to share? Anyone found that difficult? Why was it difficult, sir? Did you say it was difficult? Why is it difficult? Oh, sorry, why is it difficult?
Just coming up with random questions.
Aha, but see, they don't have to be random, do they? What's the key here? Ask, you listen to them. You have to listen to ask questions, right? You don't listen to follow up. Okay, everyone grab a seat, grab a seat, grab a seat. Nice and quickly and quietly. So one of the things about asking questions is that questions do 2 things, okay? Questions gather information, number 1, and questions drive the conversation forward. That's why it's important to ask questions. Okay. Anybody else found that challenging in some way? You found it easy? No problem? Like, nice, this thing. Bobby's networking mastery, forget it. Forget it. Okay. All right. Take good notes, good to you. Keep on taking notes. Okay. So, asking questions is very, very important. Because the truth is, networking is not just I want to meet you, but I also want you to meet me. The idea is I'm also trying to sell myself and my brand and let you know who I am and what I'm all about. And one of the things I want to get into is give you 3 networking hacks, networking mastery hacks. A hack, you guys are engineers, you like hacks, right? So let's talk about hacks. So the first one is the approach, right? So entering a group or conversation, an introduction. So how do you enter a group or conversation? Well, you know, like obviously there's smiling and eye contact, and like, you know, don't be creepy like that. You know, don't be creepy, right? Like, you know, make eye contact, smile, nod, that's fine. But the other way, you know, if there's a group of 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, how do you enter a conversation? Well, you have to use your power words, right? So the first one is hi, right? Now it can't be like hi, hi. Like you gotta get out there, right? Hi, they gotta practice. The other ones are excuse me, pardon me, and sorry to interrupt. Those 3 and hi, those 4 will get you into any conversation no matter what. No matter what. Doesn't matter who it is. If there's 1 person, 3 people, 10 people, you can get in a conversation, right? So what you do is you pretty much go to someone and you're like, hey, how are you, Bobby? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. Oh, now we're part of the conversation. Tell me what you're talking about. And now I'm already in the conversation. Like, what's the worst they're going to do? Are they going to shun me? Are they going to just go back to the phone and ignore me? I don't know what they're going to do, right? Maybe, are they going to go, go away! Ah! You know, if they do that, run away. Call the cops, never come back. Okay? They're actually going to let you in every single time. Now, the other thing is you try to make introductions, right? So when you make introductions, you got to be short and sweet to the point. You can't let it drag on forever, right? You can't be like, okay, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you, Bobby Umar. So glad to be here. You know, I love coming to events because, you know, I live at home alone with my cat, and I get kind of lonely and miss my mom, and, you know, my life's just one misstep after another, and I don't know what's going to happen to me tomorrow. But obviously, that's awkward. You don't want to do that, right? I mean, you know, that was very, very long. Sorry for that. But you're like, hi, how are you? Bobby Umar. I'm a motivational speaker here to help with careers. Let's talk. What are you guys talking about? Just talk about yourself very, very quickly. So in terms of your hack, number 1, use your power words. I'm sorry to interrupt. Excuse me, pardon me. It works every time. Okay? Number 2, now you're in the conversation, you gotta go with the flow, right? You don't want to go against the flow, right? So, you know, you're talking to people and you're chatting with stuff. So they're like, let's go over here. So you want to go with the flow, not against it. So example, let's say he starts like, you know what? I really love swimming because, you know, water is such an amazing place to, you know, heal. Like, you know what? Oh, actually I love water too. You know, I'm more of a cliff diver. I've actually dove off some really cool cliffs. Oh, I'm actually into scuba diving. Actually, did anyone ever try scuba diving? And then she's like, actually, my uncle died of a water accident. Now, see, that doesn't work. That doesn't go good. That goes against the flow, right? If that'd be a Debbie Downer. Don't do that. You want to go with the flow. You also want to ask the right questions, right? The right questions are, yes and, or questions that ask for more information. Don't ask yes, no question. Don't be like, so you like this event? Yes. Oh. They met some cool people there? Yeah. Do you want to connect to LinkedIn? No. Okay, but that's not good. You want to ask questions like, tell me about your passions. Tell me what you learned at this event. What brings you here to this networking event? Asking open-ended questions. You also don't want to ask personal questions like, you don't want to talk about politics or, or religion or, tell me about your mother. What kind of question is that? Right? That's a terrible question. In fact, I'll give you a little story. One time I was at a networking table talks event. And 8 people at a table, and I go to the next table and I talk to people, and they're asking questions. And this one girl was there, and she wasn't asking any questions. I said, and so we're all finished talking, asking questions. I said, hey, excuse me, Sasha, I've heard from you. Do you have any questions for me? And she's like, sure. Do you believe in God? And in my head, I'm like, what the fuck? What kind of question is that? And so I'm like, it felt like 10 minutes. I finally responded in like 5 seconds. I said, you first. Do you believe in God? And she's like, I'm not really comfortable talking about it. Then I'm like, why are you asking me? So make sure you ask the right questions. Now, what is the hack number 2 when it comes to the art of conversation? It's storytelling. Storytelling is a great way to share who you are. So, here's a short, quick story. One day I met this beautiful white girl, Caucasian girl at a university at a wedding, and she was really awesome. But the challenge was my parents are brown, and they didn't want to accept a white person in our family, and so we had to struggle trying to convince them to let me marry her. So I gave the best presentation of my life, and then we got married, which is pretty cool. And now we have beautiful beige babies, right? That's amazing. So, and I learned that if your parents love you and they support you, they will eventually come around. Despite crying for 10 hours and thinking it's the end of the world, they will eventually come around. I know, right? You feel that. You feel that. They'll come around. Another example is I sometimes talk about my health where I'm trying to lose weight, and you tell the story about, I struggle with this, I struggle with that, but then I tried this and I lost 10 pounds or 20 pounds, whatever it might be. And these types of stories create resonance, they create relatability, they connect you on a deeper level. If you want to connect with people on a more deeper level, like remember from a personal brand piece, people with deeper connections, sharing vulnerability and storytelling is a great way to do that. And then finally, you have the conversation. Now it's the follow-up. Like what is the follow-up? You have to have a specific follow-up, but what's the specifics? Are we going to connect on LinkedIn? Are we going to meet for a coffee later? Are you going to connect me to that referral of yours? What exactly is that thing? And then you also have to end the conversation. Some people don't know how to end a conversation. I was at another event. It was big, but like 500 people talking. And there was this guy, and he was actually a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine now. But there was like 10 people in this group. They're all very tight in, they're talking. And he couldn't leave the group. He didn't know how to end the conversation, right? So he's trying to leave. And so here's what he did. He's trying to leave, but he couldn't figure it out. So and he hit back at me and he took off. Okay, if you want to end a conversation, just, again, back to your power words. Sorry to interrupt. Listen, I really enjoyed meeting you. Let's connect on LinkedIn, okay? And then I'll send that referral we talked about earlier, okay? Because a few of the people I'd like to meet. Thanks so much. And you're gone. Right? And you need to keep moving. Don't hang out with your besties. Don't hang out with, you should, in a new connection, be able to figure out in the first 3 minutes whether you need to stick around and invest in this relationship, this conversation, sorry. You want to spend another 10 minutes here. Now, you don't spend an hour, unless they're like your soulmate, maybe, but normally you want to keep moving. In an event that's like an hour long, you should be able to meet 5 to 7 people. If it's a day-long event, you should be able to meet 20 people if you have the right plan, the right strategy, and you keep moving. You don't want to stick around, okay? And strategies are very important, so you have to learn the tactics. Now, the last part is really important, which is the follow-up. And this comes to because not following up renders networking useful. What's the point of getting their card, add them LinkedIn, and you do nothing with it? Maybe it's the job or the person that works at the company of your dreams. What are you doing about it? I'll tell you another little story, okay? So I was speaking to 500 young, hungry entrepreneur type people. They're hungry. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here the whole day. I have 500 cards, 500 business cards in my coat pocket and my bag. I'll be here the whole day. Every single one of you can get a card, and every single one of you that contacts me, I'll give you a free 15 minutes of free coaching for your career, for your work. Now, I don't do that anymore because I now have lots of connections, but back then I was hustling my business, right? But that's what I did. Now, out of 500 people, how many people do you think got my card?
500?
Well, not 3. It wasn't that bad. Well, 75 people got my card. Out of 75 people, how many people actually followed up with an email, a text, or a phone call?
15.
Okay, 17. Oh my God, seriously? Okay. No, don't pull out your phone and do this. I'm going to kill you if you do that.
0.4%.
Thank you, 0.4. So you got to be the top 50% in the room that gets my card. You can be the top 4% that follows up with me, or you can be the top 0.4% that actually builds a relationship with me. Who do you want? You think about that. Because that's also, you're like, how do I set myself apart in terms of my brand? The person follows up, that's a personal brand. And so hack number 3, this is my signature follow-up move. So when you meet someone at an event, at a professional event, a network event, or even an elevator, or wherever it might be, this is what you do. So this is my signature follow-up move. Number 1, give context. Hi, I'm actually at this event that was about engineers, and we were learning about networking and personal branding. Number 2, give gratitude. I was really appreciative of your insight because it was so smart and you were such a talented speaker. Number 3, give a relevant value offer. I recall that we talked about me sending you this article, and so here's my article for you that I talked about, and I hope you enjoyed the article because it's a very good article. And then go for the ask. What's the ask? Is it to share the article, or I would like to set up a call to talk about personal branding, or talk about engineering, or talk about LinkedIn, or whatever you want to talk about. But that's what you do. Give context, give gratitude, give a relevant value offer, go for the ask. Keep it concise. And then also persistent, professional, polite, and passionate. If they don't respond, do it again. Send them another message. But do it, be polite, and be persistent. Don't be like, I emailed you like 3 times and nothing. No, don't say that. Just say, just following up on my previous message, we're really to connect with you. I thought you were really great. I'd love to talk to you more. And you keep doing that until they give you a response. Now, many of you will say, well, isn't that kind of what?
Harassment?
Harassment, rude, annoying. You know what? You know what's rude and annoying? Their lack of response. That's mindset. How dare someone give you a business card and you contact them like they said you could, and they don't respond? That is bullshit, man. That's garbage. I don't care how big you are. Like I'm a CEO now, right? You're a chair, right? But you know what? Like the thing is, no matter how big you get, CEO, VP, whatever it is you're doing, if you don't have the time to respond to personal messages, particularly personal emails and messages on your phone, then either get someone to do it for you, like get them in to do it for something like that, because that's crazy. That to me is very, very rude. Don't feel bad about being persistent. As long as you're persistent and polite, it won't be an issue. Okay? But that's my hack number 3. And again, you gotta want it. You gotta want to network. You gotta want to make that impact. Are you the person that's going to step up and build a relationship? Are you the person that's going to step up and follow up? And I was telling Mike earlier today. I said, one of the things about young people that impress me, the ones who impress me, the ones who set themselves apart, are the ones who are responsive. I have people apply for internships with, I have a startup, UIPB, so we have internships there. So actually, I'll pitch. If anyone's interested to learn about event management or operation management or business development, message me, and we can talk. But someone sends me an email and say, hey, Bobby, I saw you were so great at your event, and I heard you talk about internships, and I'd like to inquire more about that, please. And so I say, sure, send me a resume. A week goes by. Where the hell are you? Have you done this before to somebody? You ghost me. I get ghosted. That's crazy. Don't do that. Respond quickly. The more responsive you are, the more impressed I will be, and most of us older people will be. And remember, every person that bridges someone or something else. You have no idea that this person beside you has an uncle who works for the company you want to work for. You have no idea that the person behind you has a sister that works for the company you want to work for. You have no idea. Every single person in this room is a bridge to something else. And so you want to leverage that and make sure you know all those people. And again, if you need help, get a coach, get an advisor, get a mentor, get an advisory board. These are people that are here to help you. Your teachers are great coaches. I'm a great coach. Your friends, your parents can be great coaches. So leverage the coaches that you have in your network to help you out. And remember, networking is the beginning of a beautiful, authentic relationship. That's really what it's all about. And when I think about networking, I always say, I always ask myself, how can I help you? And I take it further to say, well, how can I help you make a difference? For me, networking is about giving without expectation. I give to help other people. So when I network with you, I'm going to say, well, how can I help you? What do you need help with? What do you need help with? I want to help you guys make a difference in your lives, in your careers, in your leadership path. I want to help you build better personal brands. I want to help you build better thought leadership for yourself and for your school. That's kind of how I do it. Now, I have a couple other activities, but I want to make sure we're mindful of time. How much time I got, Mike?
We're supposed to go to 8:50.
8:50, so that's 10 minutes, eh? Okay. Well, all right. Well, you know what? We'll do one. We'll do one. This one. So what I want you to do is I want you to start a conversation with 3 to 4 people, and I want you to introduce yourselves and start a conversation. What do you think about this session, right? But the person starting the conversation then leaves and tries to join another group already in conversation. So you have to learn how to leave and enter conversation. That's actually kind of harder than things. Okay? You do whatever you want. Verbal integration, introductions, excuse me, you can grunt, whatever you want to do to get the conversation. I want you to practice, you know, the creepy eye contact, like you can do that, but I don't advise it. Try different tactics I already told you. So, and then continue going until you've actually moved to another group. All right? So, everyone stand up. Form a group of 3 or 4. Start talking the session, be gentle, and then try to leave. Okay, go!
I didn't have like what was what we supposed to do? Okay, I can show you. So we're supposed to talk about the session. What do you guys think about this? Pretty informative, especially the first part about PEO. So that's what I thought about it. It was pretty informative.
I helped set this whole thing up, and like the whole point of this thing was to like talk about the PEO and just like how you can get money and stuff. Because like a lot of people like everyone had questions about it. So like I'm like part of the BTA that like set this whole thing up, and like that was the only reason we set this
Someone's
up.
gotta leave.
But like I think this branding thing is like a really good idea that like we just did not take into account. So like I'm glad that Bob came. So like I don't know, I think it's a very, very good experience.
What's up, guys? I'm gonna leave. Okay, good talking to you.
These conversations are like, I join it and someone's like, just like, I feel like I'm stepping in where I could. What are you guys talking about?
Oh no, just what we thought about this whole presentation.
That was good. I was gonna fall asleep after the PM stuff, but then he kicked it up a notch and it was interesting. So it's actually worth sticking around for.
Same with me, man. The PEO stuff was pretty informative, but he pretty much picked up the vibe and a little more lively.
It goes to show you, he's just talking about himself and stuff, so I guess it's a little easier. He loves it. All about the feel, right?
I think the part of personal brand is pretty useful. It's really constructive idea. But the second part is like in teaching people courtesy, how to talk with people. I think it's kind of like dumb. That's really wrong there. I think I'm not supposed to say. That's what I thought.
Well, I think it's interesting, like, just forcing us into like these conversations with like other people, whether you know them or you don't, trying to do what he says. It's good practice because like you think you know how to do it, but then when you try, you're lost for words. I'm out.
So we can leave or we have to wait.
This whole thing is on the end.
My senior project device.
Are you on campus?
All right, can I have your attention? Hello. All right. So, hi, hello. Okay. So, did anybody find that difficult?
Yeah.
Is it harder to leave or to enter?
Yeah.
Most people say it's hard to leave. That's true. It is. It's very difficult to leave sometimes. But again, that's why you have your tactics, that's why you have your objectives. And if you keep focusing on that, you'll do well. Well, have a seat now, okay? We're coming to the end. We're coming to the close. If you have questions, get ready. So, remember, there are many ways to join a conversation. Remember that it's expected. The context is there. You gotta want it. Like, people expect you to come up to them and over. So it's actually okay to ask those questions. Now, I'm going a little bit long, I apologize, but you know what? I came over from Toronto, and I'm here, so I might as well make the most of it and give you as much information as I can to help you guys out. We haven't even talked about things like LinkedIn or other things that I certainly can help you with as well, but I want to make sure we get a little bit of that. Now, the other one that I didn't get into was the pimp my friend. This is another tactic, right? So let's say she's the one I want to network with, okay? But now she's talking to these other people, like, oh, come on, whatever, okay, fine. So I'm talking, stand up, three of you, stand up, three of you. Yes, yes. So let's say she's the one I want to network with, but you know, she's talking to these people, like, oh, come on, whatever, okay, fine. So you know what I do? I'll be listening. And I'll say, sorry, what's your name? What's it? Akansha. Okay, so I'll say, you know, Akansha, that's a really good point. You know, I love how you brought that up because it shows that you're very smart about auto mechanics. And you know, something I struggle with because I'm trying to be better at auto mechanics engineering, you know. But and then Mike might say something like, you know, Mike, that's a great point. You know, I like how you're willing to share that you need help, you're asking for help, and that's something that, you know, I think I could do better. That's really amazing. So I think that's awesome. Now she's listening to all of this, and she's like, oh, and what's happening? They're like, wow, Bobby's making us look good in front of the people we're trying to network with, and they love that. And then she's like, well, you know, he hasn't said anything nice about me. But what happens is now all three of them want to talk to me. Why? Because I'm a promoter, and I make people look good. Have a seat, have a seat. It's a great strategy. It works very, very well. Because promoting one another is win-win-win. The other one that we didn't get into, which was conversation killer, so practicing the wrong thing, right? So, how are you today? Terrible. My pet parakeet died when I sat on her. So, where are you from? Not sure. I was found in a mall wrapped in bearskin, so maybe I was raised by wolves. What do you look for in a top employer? Because of my radical politics and my fundamentalist religious views, I need to take 80 days off per year, perfectly paid. Right? So, you know, the reason I do this activity is because I'm trying to train your brain. Because if failure is our greatest teacher, if you can learn how to say the wrong thing, you can learn how to say the right things. Right? So you win some, you learn some. And again, briefly talking about online social media networking. You know, if you're on these three, or Instagram should be there now, I think. There's always other ones too. But the point is, depending on who your target is, if everyone you target in your career or your business is in a certain place, you need to be. Now, I'm not sure where the auto mechanic engineers are, but if they're all on Instagram or on Pinterest, you got to be there. Like, you know, someone who's in baking has to be in Pinterest and Instagram because it's all visual, and that's why it's set up for that. So you have to know where people are. And you know, I'm a big believer in investing in LinkedIn because LinkedIn has changed in the last 2 years, and I do a whole presentation on that in terms of how the platform changed, and now it is where people are getting. Right now, LinkedIn and Instagram are the two hottest places to invest your time and energy in terms of building a brand because the algorithms are such that they're promoting and generating a lot of interest. So I highly recommend investing in LinkedIn. And another thing that's happening now is video, right? Video is really important because video accounts for 82% of all consumer internet traffic. And 70% of people view brands in a more positive light with video. If a picture paints 1,000 words, according to Forrester's research, 1 minute of video is worth 1.8 million words. So if you spend 1 minute talking about automotive engineering, you spend 1 minute talking about smartphones, you spend 1 minute talking about thermodynamics, you spend 1 minute talking about struggles as engineering career, or you know your bachelor's degree, whatever it might be, it's going to draw attention to. It's actually going to say a lot. It's going to set you apart from everybody else. Oh, and I recommend 1, 4, and 8 to 10 minute long video, depending on whether you want to give a big tip or want to actually dive into a really interesting topic. So I'm a big believer in video. If you want to learn more about that, ask me because I'm happy to talk about that. And again, you know, you have to be different, greater first. If you're not the first one to do such and such, you can still be different. You can still be great. That's what personal branding is too. Differentiating yourself and being great. And again, diving into networking is so important for you if you want to build a thought leadership brand. I bring this back because everybody who asks me, how do I get that job? How do I get that opportunity? How do I set myself apart? It is right here. If you work on these things, you will set yourself apart. I've given you the formula. It's just a question for you to do the work. And a little gift for everybody. I actually have a 12-module training program on networking. I'm going to send a link to Mike, and everyone here will get access to my first one, which is Module 1, How to Build a Winning Mindset with Networking. It's about an hour long, but you'll find it value in that, okay? Some final thoughts for today. Again, one of the big things when it comes to networking and personal branding is, and I tell this to my kids too, go out there and make people feel amazing. Make people feel inspired. Make people feel informed. Make people feel entertained. You can do that through content. You do that through networking. You do that through your personal brand. If you do that, you're going to make an impact on everybody. And I'm trying to do that too. I'm trying to make you feel good. I'm trying to make you feel empowered. Hopefully it's working. Maybe it's not. But if it is, then I've done my job. And again, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. So if you don't have a blog post, you don't have videos, you don't have a good LinkedIn profile, you don't have solid networking skills, now's the time to start to be great. Okay? And again, you gotta want it. You can't just, you can't just say, well, maybe they'll do it, I'll do it. I mean, you can even tell just from this class. This class is full of 100 people or 1,500 people, but the people who stood up are the ones who asked questions, the 3 people who came up to me and talked to me, as opposed to you guys. That's something I'll remember. You will remember the ones who engaged and said stuff. So you gotta want it. All right. So that's the end of my talk. I hope you found it really helpful. You can contact me in any of these different ways. I'm happy to help you guys out. But thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Does anybody have any specific questions on networking, personal branding, LinkedIn, that type of stuff? Because I want to make sure I'd be able to get any questions you might have. Because I'm here now, and then I'm going back on the GO train, and we'll all be gone. And some of you won't build a relationship with. Yeah.
So after the coffee talk,
yeah.
You got the LinkedIn person. How to keep in touch?
Okay, so you've connected on LinkedIn. You've now had that one-on-one coffee. Hopefully, from that coffee, you're able to develop a connection and be able to stay in touch. Now, obviously, you can't stay in touch with everybody, right? What do you do? I mean, the thing is, you have to stay in touch a certain way. Now, depending on how important a connection, like that woman I met from VaynerMedia, I am going to follow with her like every month and see what's going on. But if it's someone that is not on the peripheral of your connection is not so important, maybe not so much. So if it's someone who's really important, yeah, you can send a message, say, hey, do you want to check in, see how you're doing? Here's an article that I read that I thought would be relevant to you. Actually, I want to introduce you to this person because I thought it'd be a great connection. You can do for the really connection that really matter. Continue to keep adding value. When you send a message, the idea is to create value for that person. That's what you should be doing. Okay? Other questions? If you want to go home, that's fine. That's fine. I will stay here if you have any other questions. I'm happy to stick around and help you guys out. I did give you a lot of content, so I want to make sure that yes, your questions, sir. Do I review resumes? For a price. Review resumes? Well, I mean, there are services out there that do it. I mean, yes. I mean, a lot of connections say, Bobby, can you review my resume? Sure. But, it's not something I'm going to do over email. It's going to be like, if you have it here, I'll quickly take a look at it. No problem. I'll give you my feedback. I'm all about being brutally honest with love. That's how I do it. If you have a resume here, show it to me right now. I'll show it to you. But yeah, I mean that. But I know people who do that for you as well. Okay. But yeah, you should look at LinkedIn profiles, your resumes, and make sure they look amazing. Okay. Any other questions? Personal branding, networking, career, engineering, LinkedIn. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
That's actually for a while.
Don't leave. Before y'all go, we would just like to thank both of our speakers today. I'd like to thank Bobby and some of our presenters. Thanks for coming up. And Tracey for making all the way out to make McMaster today, taking time out of their busy schedules. And to thank all of you for coming out, learning something. And I hope you guys got something really useful out of today.
Yeah, if you have any questions for either Tracey or Bobby, we're going to hang out here first.
Oh, we have here.
Huh?
Right way, this way is blocked.
I wonder if it ran out of battery.